Welcome back. Hello, I'm back. It's a little later in the evening right now. You may or may not notice this is a different quality of video. I don't know if it's going to show up that well, but we'll find out. It's on an actual camera this time. Some people kind of asked me to do this one, and I also really wanted to do this one as well. And this one's where I want to talk about how to tell your friends and other people about the problems you have with your bladder, incontinence issues, bedwetting, and all that kind of stuff. My list, I made a little list of things to kind of like bring up and to consider before you tell people. One of the things I wanted to tell you about is, so before we breach the topic of bedwetting, we have to decide what it means to you. So that would be my first suggestion, or rule number one, I guess, to start off with, is to understand that you have a problem. It may or may not be a big problem or whatever you want to call it, but understanding that you have a problem and what it means to you. Because if you can't decide on how you feel about said issue, no one else is going to know how to feel about it either, or how to respect you, or how to help you if they can. How you deal with your problem is going to dictate how others deal with you and your problems. So if you're always making fun of yourself, people won't take you all that seriously when it comes to something more serious. Or if you're making fun of yourself in a serious problem, and people are just going to dictate that behavior on how they should also treat that behavior. And it's happened to me before, like depending on something serious or something not so serious happening. I've been in a situation where, you know, best friends or something like that, or family members of mine will have been telling me something about something that probably could have been taken more seriously, and just because of how the situation in life been going up until then, I thought it was okay to just kind of take it all relaxed and stuff, and that was not a good idea. So decide how you feel about your problem and then go from there. As for an example, how I feel about my problem, so how I started talking to people about it is that I decided that while it's a problem for me, I can't really talk about it because I've been hiding it for so long. And I was like, no one's really going to understand why am I bringing it up now, and what does that mean to me and to them. And like some very, very close people in my life didn't know how this was affecting me, that it affected me at all. And when they learned about it, they were so, I don't know what kind of moment it was for them. I didn't really ask, but like at the same time, it was like, they're like, oh my goodness, well, you have that problem. Like, that's so amazing. I can't believe you're speaking up about it. And everyone was so supportive. And that's why I treated it with respect. And then I think I got respect in the end. So I was pleasantly surprised. I'm fairly sarcastic on social media and in real life. I'm pretty silly all the time. So for me to sort of bring up a really personal and private topic that really doesn't get discussed openly was really hard. Like, for me to do this and be more confident about it, I think I've just been sort of training myself to do this. And I've been thinking about doing this for a really long time. This is turning into a long story, but I've been thinking about doing something like this in one format or another. At one point I wanted to write a book, which I still might do, but I wanted to write a book and then, sell my book. But at that point I hadn't had any kind of influence at all anywhere. So like, it wouldn't have probably been as influential to anyone else. So then I was like, well, maybe let's start making videos first in order to like bring the attention out so that I will be able to affect other people's lives. And so far I have been, and it's been making me feel really great. So long story short, decide how you feel about your problem, and then others will dictate how they feel about your problem. And then I guess the next thing I would like to say is, when you finally come to terms with what your problem is and you understand your problem, you need to be able to speak about it in layman's terms, because not everyone's a doctor. And for myself, it's kind of hard. Like, once a doctor sort of tells you what's going on with your bladder or whatever, if you have a diagnosis, then you're like, yeah, I kind of get that. And then like you leave the doctor's room and then you're like, what the heck just happened? Like, what did I just hear? And sometimes it's obviously good to bring a second pair of ears so they can kind of keep track of what's going on too, in case you miss something. But when it comes to your friends, keep it super simple. So you're not overwhelming them with an already taboo / strange topic that they weren't kind of expecting on a random Wednesday afternoon kind of thing. So yeah, bring it down to terms that you would like to treat anyone like you would treat yourself, but like at the same time, bring it down to terms that you would probably understand yourself. So like practice saying it. Don't expect everybody to have your back now or ever. And don't expect everyone to remember. That's another thing I've struggled with a lot at the time, is I tend to try and remember really important things about my friends. It's not always going to happen, but the really important stuff you should try and remember. And if this is really important to you, you should really try and make it show that it's important to you. So something to think about, if you have ever heard about one of your friends having a problem with like food allergies, a certain kind of food that they don't eat, like being a vegan. Not all the time will I remember other people's preferences on stuff. Not even preferences, but like medical preferences, okay, so they don't die. It's not out of spite or if it's in vain that they forget that you may have an overactive bladder, or if they invite you over to stay at their house and you choose not to. It's not in vain. They're not trying to be rude, but just remember that not everyone's going to remember. Remember that not everyone's going to remember. That's a mouthful. And so the fourth thing I wanted to talk about was, once you find someone who understands and is willing to listen to you talk about it, and they're interested in your life, keep them up to date. They'll appreciate that. They may even ask questions about it, and it may be a little weird at first that someone's be like, how is your doctor's appointment? How's it been going with your bladder? Like stuff like that, or whatever kind of problems you have. Just expect the people who care to show that they care. Because like, I think that's just what good friends do. But just expect like those sort of like directed conversations to be had, and then just keep them up to date. But having close friends is important, and it's really good to help boost your confidence in talking about it and getting used to talking about it. And talking about how you feel about something that's really personal to you is obviously going to impact your life and day-to-day life and confidence about it. So just think about trying to open up to someone that you trust, and then hopefully go from there. I'll share my experience with opening up to someone about my bedwetting. My ex-boyfriend of many years, so I opened up to him. I don't remember what year it was, but it might have been like the first year or two, probably the first year, I guess, that we were dating. And I had told him, I have something quite personal to tell you, and it isn't going to be easy for me, but I need to tell you something. It was like a really awkward conversation. Like, I didn't know how to say it. I just ended up saying it, and I remember saying like, I wet the bed every night, and then remembering hearing him laugh, and then hearing myself kind of talk over it, because I didn't want to hear him keep laughing. Like, I think he kind of like went like he didn't believe me. Like, that's kind of like a funny joke, like, what's the actual thing you wanted to tell me, kind of thing. And so he laughed a little, and like we didn't talk about it. I think it was just a gut reaction. Like, I didn't take it. He did take me seriously after that, but it was just the fact that when I told him that I had something serious to tell him, and then I'm a silly person. That's what I mean. Like, to respect your problems and respect how you feel about something, and then other people will show you how to respect you back. Because, yeah, I'm a very silly, fun person. I know you probably can't see that from these videos, but like, I am sharing a pretty important personal thing about me, and it's not always something to laugh about. So, when I shared that with him, I didn't feel all that great, and I just remember being like, I gotta talk through this, because if he keeps laughing, I'm not gonna want to tell him that that was true, kind of thing. But I kept going, and we eventually talked about it. And yeah, so that was just a really kind of crappy situation, but like it just kind of stuck with me, and those things will happen, and you won't always, but like, he was my boyfriend at the time, so like, it was kind of important that I told him, and so I wanted him to know. But like, not everyone's going to respect your problem, and not everyone's going to want to treat you with the same respect you do, so just be prepared for that. And then the last thing I wanted to say was kind of cheesy. I was going to say, just be proud and be confident and be you, because it's always going to suck. It's going to suck, and it's going to suck some more that you have incontinence or bedwetting issues. But it's your health, and it's your problem, whether you think of it as a problem or not. It's something to take seriously. It can also be something like bedwetting and incontinence can be a totally fixable thing if it's part of a symptom of something that's not strictly overactive bladder, sleep enuresis. There are ways, like, it can be a symptom, a warning sign of something, so you don't want to ignore it. So these are really important reasons to like talk about it, because you'll be like, wow, I didn't think, like, I thought that was just something in my life. Just go to the right people and find the right doctors, and hopefully, like, it might be something as simple as that you can fix, and then everyone will be like, yay! Anyways, and then take it seriously and take control of your life. No one is going to force you to go to the doctors or take medication or do a procedure that anyone's recommending to you. But if you don't do those things, no one's probably going to sympathize with you in the fact that if you start talking about it and then they ask you if you've done any of those things and you said no, then they're just going to be like, well, then what do you have, like, what are we talking about? Like, if you have problems, there are people out there who can help you. So basically my main message is you need to feel confident in your own skin, and if you're not ready to talk about it, don't. But try one day, try talking to one person and seeing how that goes. And I really am happy that I've kind of shared this now. I think the results that I got from sharing this, I keep saying this, were far more than I expected, positive results. So you guys are just awesome. I like the people who've been messaging me and contacting me through email and through the comments on YouTube here. And I think that is just the coolest thing I've ever experienced in my life. So keep doing it. Keep it up. Talk amongst each other. Share your problems and stories if you can. And hopefully we can find like a community of people who feel comfortable doing that. And then maybe that'll help open up the chance to talk to other people. Because as much as I love hearing all your stories, well, not love, but like sharing and empathizing with other people, it's good to kind of open up to other people too. And so yeah, that's all I really want to talk about. I really wanted to make this video. It's late for me. I have to be up early in the morning, but yeah, that's all. Anyways, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. So have a good night. Bye-bye.